Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition. It's a Thursday edition of the program. It's PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Thursday means we'll have our college football analyst, Brent Beaird, momentarily. Second portion of today's program, we'll have Freddie Wehbe from Florida Victorious kind of give us an update on what Florida Victorious has going on moving forward and how you can get involved with them as well. Gators practiced yesterday. Pretty much, I believe most teams either started yesterday or today. But the guy that will let us know all that is Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. You're on the Titanamore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. How we doing, my man?
Well, there should be a state holiday this week, or maybe a national holiday for that matter, because everyone is on the field. Now, a lot of the SEC started yesterday. Georgia starts today, but safe to say that by the end of the week, everyone will be on the field and they will have 25 practices. Just because if your favorite team starts later doesn't mean anything, because they all get in their 25 practices within the allotted time. So it all works out, right, Shane?
Yep, for sure. It's an exciting time. No doubt about it. Brent, I guess we got the week 0 games.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks away, something like that. I know Florida State and Georgia Tech will be playing over in Ireland. That's kind of the premier game. When did Florida State start camp? Like a week ago, possibly?
Yes, they started last week. So did Georgia Tech, in order to get and these other teams who are involved with week 0. We've got Montana State at New Mexico, which is at 4. We've got Southeast Missouri at UNA and Montgomery. That's on ESPN. My brother works at station in Huntsville, so North Alabama is up in that area in Florence. So that's a great opportunity for them to be on television. Then SMU's at Nevada, and that's at 8 p.m. on the CBS Sports Network. And then we've got Hawaii at Delaware State, and that will be your late game. So not
How
sure
about Delaware State? Delaware State getting that trip out to the island to play a little ball.
Hey, how many miles is that one, Shane?
That's a long ways, but a good trip for Delaware State, no question about it. All right, Brent, before we jump into, what else is going around college football right now?
You've got a whole lot of obviously commitments going on. They're playing with the scholarship numbers right now. We've got 105 for football. There's some things that we've heard this week, and I'll be brief about this, on these numbers and transfers and so forth. One of the things that's come out after they've had time to study this is that players who transfer, one of the, it's great that you get playing time, but the problem with that is you lose credits in some of these areas. So if you transfer to a couple of schools, they've figured out you may lose a year of college, basically, a year of credits by going from one school to the other.
Does anybody care about that anymore?
Probably, truthfully, Shane, probably not. But
yeah.
Here's the thing about that, though, and I haven't heard that this has changed, but a player has still got to make a certain amount of what they call progress toward the degree. So for a lot of these guys, that they're not making a lot of progress, shall we say.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What's interesting in the notes here in the Southeastern Conference, in your 16 teams, there are no quarterback battles this year. Everybody knows exactly who their starter is going to be. I don't know when the last time I've heard that. What about you, Brent? I mean, it's kind of amazing, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's very, very unusual. Now, look, that doesn't mean that we won't have some quarterback battles along the way, but it basically, in many ways, is settled. Now, I will say the A&M situation, that could get interesting. I mean, we think Connor Weigman's going to be the guy, but Jalen Henderson played really well last year. But I mean, you've still got a lot of guys. Brock Vandergrift's going to be the guy at Kentucky. Lenore Sellers at South Carolina. And Nico Lamaliva, and we'll learn how to pronounce his name before the season's over, will be the quarterback at Tennessee. So it is very unusual that we're not having really any kind of big-time quarterback battles. Vanderbilt and Clark Lee may have a little bit of one before it's over. But this kid, Pavia, can really play. So we think he's going to be the guy, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, we got a couple of YouTube questions here I want to jump on. Clint, this is brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, I was listening to Dusty and Danny. I'm not sure who Dusty and Danny is. And they said Miami better watch out in the swamp. They believe they are walking into a hornet's nest. They had me pumped up. Here's a question from Mark. It's ridiculous shipping college football overseas. Do they actually make that much money on the games? So that's an interesting question. Brent, what do you know, if you know anything, like this game over in Ireland? You know, it kind of makes sense when Notre Dame goes over there and plays like Navy. But what is Florida State and Georgia Tech? Are they getting a paycheck to go play this game? Or what can you tell us? That is a good question. It
is a real good question. And it's interesting that we dealt with this on the TV side of it, as far as doing a segment of what do schools really get out of that. Now, one, it's recruiting. I mean, you tell your recruits, okay, you come play with us, and a year or two we're going to Ireland. That may be a once in a lifetime trip for some guys. I think the other thing is it helps you increase your brand to some degree. Now, one thing that is always interesting is merchandise. And you, like Michigan and Alabama, do really well worldwide. And if you can kind of get on that list to make some of these games, and we may see a little bit more of these. Now, Brian Kelly at LSU said a couple of weeks ago on that we talked about on this segment that he is trying really hard to get his administration to get them a game in Ireland. Now, there'll be some other destinations, I'm sure, but Ireland works out really well. And I do want to get the money totals for this at some point. But yeah, that they do get money out of this, but it's some of the other things that makes it attractive too. But that's a very good question.
Yeah, AU Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, in today's Gainesville Sun, it mentioned a partnership between UF and the Jaguars. I was wondering if y'all had any additional information on this collaboration. I did not see that. I know nothing about it. I'm not sure what it's about because we had Mark Long on yesterday, and I agree 100% with him that when the renovations happen, I would put a lot of money on it that they're going to play in Orlando due to a lot of things that would have to be done to the swamp.
Right.
Do you know anything about this?
I'll be honest with you, I don't. I don't. I may be like you today. I'm probably going to be in a situation to find that out. But I would be curious as to what that is, but at this point, no.
Yeah. All right, Brent, let's go around the SEC. Alabama, I think they cranked up yesterday or maybe today.
They did.
Any news coming out of Tuscaloosa?
Well, they got out of it healthy. That's the main thing, and that's what everybody wants to get in week one. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the offense and what they're going to be doing to replace some guys, and they brought some other guys in. I think the biggest thing for them right now is they've got to revamp their secondary. They've added 5 defensive backs. Dominique Jackson, Deshaun Jones, Keon Sabb, King Mack, Tim Howard, Zabian Brown is really well thought of. Jalen Mbakwe was a quarterback in high school, but he also played at cornerback, so he's going to be very good. So I think the big thing for Alabama is going to be just replacing some of these guys or revamping this defense. They play Wisconsin early on, and I just want to throw this note in here real quick. Wisconsin's quarterback is Tyler Van Dyke, who came
I didn't even realize that.
who came from Miami. So he's trying to restart his career up in Wisconsin, Shane.
Yeah, I had no idea he was their quarterback. It'll be interesting to see how Bama plays. I think that's probably going to, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be like an 11 a.m. start at Camp Randall.
It is.
This year for that game. Let's talk a little bit about Auburn. Obviously, it sounds like, and I don't follow Auburn, but apparently they're just tearing it up on the recruiting circuit, especially in the state of Alabama.
Yeah.
They've gotten Jimmy from Yellowwood's checkbook, or what's going on there?
Yeah. They have they've done quite well with that too. But they've flipped a couple of Alabama players. One of the guys has flipped about 3 times, so that he may change his mind still. But regardless, what Hugh Freeze has done, Auburn now is in the top 10 in recruiting, and that's somewhere they have not been as of late. Gus Malzahn and Brian Harsin, just to be honest, we're not great recruiters. I think the biggest thing that Auburn's done is their wide receiver room has gotten much better. Tim Coleman is a 5-star. Perry Thompson's a 4-star. Malcolm Simmons and Bryce Kane are wide receivers they really like. I think the question Shane and I have on this is, can Peyton Thorne get the job done? I mean, he played last year. He'll be back this year. You would think a quarterback in his second year under Hugh Freeze would be an upgrade or would be improved. So we will see about that. But yes, Auburn's doing very well in recruiting. Also, by the way, the 2 names you mentioned a few minutes ago, one was Danny Cannell, and what the caller was talking about was, or the texter is an early morning show on Sirius Radio on Channel 84. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, that's what that's about. Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Jumping into the Gators, Josh from Mississippi on the Titan MR text line has this question. Says, Brent, based on your experience, how does Florida's strength and speed gains we've heard about match up to other programs like Georgia and Alabama? And how do you think this will impact the Gators this season on the field? Brent, I don't know if you heard it, but Billy and the strength coach and all that were talking about, how much muscle mass. They don't talk about kids 40 times anymore. It's how many miles per hour you can run.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, you got any answers to his question?
Well, they've gained 575 pounds of muscle, and they've lost more than 400 pounds of fat. So, I mean, look, in this day and age, you keep records on everything. So, I mean, what that tells you is they've done well in the off season. Will that translate on the field? That remains to be seen. But, everybody's bigger, stronger, faster right now. It's like spring training in Major League Baseball. But I don't think there's any doubt that the things I hear and I read, I think this is just going to be a better football team all the way around. I mean, I know this isn't, but that really probably people don't care about things like this. But Joe Houston said they're using a special teams mat, and I don't know if you saw the picture of that, Shane. Hopefully this will help them. But it's got places, little circles for the special teams to stand. Look, at this point, after last year, whatever they can do to be more efficient, to me, is worth it.
Well, Brent, I mentioned yesterday, because we talked about that on the program, and during the broadcast for the last 2 years, I have brought up the mat during games because every team in America uses one, even at the high school level.
Yeah.
So the Gators will use one now, and I think it's a good idea. Asa says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, that Shane, my brother, said Gainesville is a done deal. He had heard through administration at the university that the Jaguars are in fact going to use Gainesville during one of the years they shut down. Okay. That's surprising to me because so much has to be done. Obviously, they will try to schedule the Jags when the Gators are playing away.
Sure.
But as like Mark Long talked about, they're going to have to basically build a new locker room for the visitors because it doesn't meet NFL criteria.
Right.
The visiting locker room. So I don't know where they're going to build that and how it, because it's so old down there in the south. What is that? The southeast corner where the visitors get dressed. You got to bring in different goalposts because the goalposts are different measurements. You got to paint different hash marks. So I'm surprised about that, but I guess that's a good thing. What else can you tell us about what's going on in Gainesville?
They love the Slackman kid who came over from Penn in the Ivy League. I mean, number one, the kid's can be pretty smart if he comes from there. But he is, I think they've really, and he's going from like 375 to 342. So he certainly worked on his body over the last few months. They've had a great week recruiting. I know you've gone into that, but the Devin Jackson and the Samuel kid and Joseph, and this is a name that Shane and I can't pronounce yet, but we'll get on it at some point. So give them a lot of credit for that. I think they're a lot more confident. At this point too. I mean, I've seen a lot of the videos that everybody else. I think this team is excited and ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. A couple people on YouTube are asking about when they do the renovations in the swamp, do I think we're going to play a couple of games in maybe Tampa, Jacksonville, or Orlando? Honestly, I personally don't think that will happen. I think whatever the renovations they do need to get done in the off season because you can't afford to not have home games in today's world, especially from a recruiting standpoint. Look, I'm telling you right now, go hire the people that build stuff at Texas A&M University, and it will get built in about 3 or 4 months.
Really?
It's truly amazing how they tear stuff down. Like, Brent, we played out there 2 years ago. They had a phenomenal football facility, locker rooms, weight room that attached to the stadium. Their last home game, and I don't remember who it was, they were playing that year. The day after that game, they destroyed it, and they built a whole new facility that opened up before the next season.
It's incredible, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, it can get done. So you can't afford in today's world to play these at these different locations because you got to have the kids that come for the recruiting visits on campus. This all goes back to why Kirby hates playing in Jacksonville. The last thing the Gators need to do is play 3 or 4 games on the road at neutral sites whenever this happens. So, all right, Georgia. Obviously, we know about all their off-the-field stuff. I believe Kirby, if I'm not mistaken, did kick a kid off the team. Is that true?
Yeah, well, he is suspended is what Ra Thomas is, who we're talking about, the wide receiver. Now, this is his second situation with domestic violence. So now that's the current situation. Now, will he be kicked off the team permanently? We don't know that, but that's what he's done. I mean, you cannot deal with a situation like this when you've got children involved. And again, there's a lot we don't know. So, I mean, it's just alleged, and that's what he's been arrested for. But I would be surprised if he comes back. Now they've got wide receivers. I mean, my Stars, I looked up the other day, Shane, they've got like, on their spring roster for wide receivers, they've got like 17. It was either 17 or 20, something like that. So they'll be fine with that, and they won't carry that many on the fall roster. But Thomas is gone. And again, there's still questions about Georgia. Who's going to be the backup quarterback is a real, I think, question mark right now. Not saying it's going to be Jaden Rashada, but, he could get a little bit of time. Gunnar Stockton is still involved with that, too. They need some depth on the defensive line. Trevor Etienne, they need some backups for him. Roderick Robinson, Branson Robinson are two guys who may be there. And I think most folks know that they hired Mark Robinson recently as their veteran football. Well, he's a veteran football administrator, so that's what he's doing. He's got a lot of experience at Florida, at A&M, and also at FSU and Arkansas. So he's been around some different places.
We got a text on the Titan Mark text line from Jimmy. He says, Brent, I'd like to know who you think might be a so-called sleeper in the Southeastern Conference this year.
Well, they had a defense. Look, if Jeff Lebby can do what we think he can. When Lebby was he's coached at Mississippi State. When Lebby was at Oklahoma, they ran that play every 23 seconds, which is amazing to be that efficient. But if he ever gets that down, they'll be difficult to handle. And Florida's got a early September game with them. So I think I think they could give you some problems in a game too. I don't know if they're going to be a surprise. Missouri lost some people, but they bring Brady Cook back and Luther Burden, the quarterback, the wide receiver. So I think they will probably be able to be up there again. Just a couple to think about.
Yeah. All right, Brent. Tennessee's an interesting team to me. I know they're getting a lot of love throughout the nation. I don't understand it to a point. Mm-hmm. I think Heupel's done a really good job there, but we saw them last year. I think they're going to be better offensively because I think Nico I've seen him play like 25 plays, and I think he's way better than Joe Milton.
Way better.
And I do not understand why they played Joe Milton. But, I mean, what do you see from this Tennessee team this year?
I think how they do depends on their defense. The thing they did last year is they realized early on that they were not going to win an SEC championship with Joe Milton. So what they had to do was they had to be able to run the ball and play good defense, and that's what they did. Their front seven was one of the better front sevens in the nation as far as tackles for loss. Now, this James Pierce kid is easily one of the better defensive ends in the SEC and also in the nation. So they will be. And look, with Nico, I'm with Shane all the way on this. Nico's a much better quarterback than Milton was. Squirrel White, Brew McCoy come back. They've got a really good offensive line led by Cooper Mays, so they will be good. But again, I think the thing with Tennessee is going to be dependent upon can they continue to make improvement on their defense is going to be the big. They've got kind of a sneaky game early on with NC State at Charlotte. Then they've got at Oklahoma, at Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, and Kentucky in a row. So that's going to be a real challenge for them. I did get amused. I don't know if you saw this. I'll be brief on this. Joe Milton is now in the NFL, and they're showing his arm strength. He was throwing against Drake May, who comes from North Carolina, and Milton probably outthrew him, I don't know, 20 or 30 yards. But Shane, my question on Joe Milton will always be, I don't, he can throw it over the stadium, but can he throw it on 3rd and 7 in the fourth quarter in Baton Rouge?
He can. I can answer you that question. He couldn't do it at Michigan.
Yep.
He couldn't do it at Tennessee. So what makes them think they're going to do it in the National Football League? It ain't going to happen.
Right.
And again, you never throw a ball over 55, maybe 60, unless it's a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So
good point.
He's going to look good in shorts. He can throw it a mile. He can throw it through a brick wall. Whatever little silly contest you want to do, he's your guy. But if you want to win football games, he ain't your guy.
No.
So these people are freaking in la-la land. There's no way in the world I'd put him behind center in the National Football League in a game. No way. Michael wants to know on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Shane asked Brent how he sees the helmet communications affecting the college game offensively this year as we go forward with it. Took them long enough to bring it into college football. Well, I want to comment on it. I think it's outstanding.
Yes.
They've should have done this years ago. The main reason I think is from a financial standpoint, because some programs, and I'm assuming this is across the board in college football, like your group of fives, your Bowling Greens, those type of teams that don't have great financial backing, because these things aren't cheap, and they get wet and they break, and you got to have a ton of backups. So, but I think it's phenomenal. It's something that should have happened a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Everything I've heard so far is the players and the coaches love it, and it's really going to help. Now, the thing that still probably needs to happen, and you can help us on this, Shane, is there's still got to be some kind of hand signals for like the receivers. That's the thing that I've heard. So some of the technical part of that we may not grasp. But like you can explain it, but that's what I heard. It's great with the quarterbacks, but they just need to continue to fine tune their communication with the rest of the offense.
Well, yeah, you got to do that because nobody huddles. If you huddle, nobody has to learn any signals because the quarterback just gets the play and he repeats it in the huddle. But you're exactly right. When they're these up-tempo teams, nothing's really going to change because they're still going to be doing all their signs and signals and stuff on the sideline. Chris says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, Hugh Freeze has always been good at buying players, even before it was legal. He ain't lying. He had some really good ones at Ole Miss.
He did.
Brent, before we get you out of here, give us some nuggets.
Yeah, glad to be able to do that. We don't talk about Vanderbilt much, but I think they could be one of the better defensive teams. I understand Clark Lee is going to be the defensive coordinator, which is interesting to see how that works. Tim Beck is the offensive coordinator. They've got a little quarterback transfer, Pavia, who I think is going to be really good too. One of the things about Oklahoma that got my attention, Shane, is, now think about this a minute. Oklahoma has got to replace their entire offensive line. They have no starters coming back on the offensive line. And look, and you played in this league. This league is very difficult. And if one of the position groups you want a lot of starters to come back on is on the offensive line, and Oklahoma has 0.
I know, that's crazy. That is unbelievable. Brent, good stuff as always. Have a great weekend. You got football to watch tonight. And we'll see. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Look forward to it, bud. Thank you. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird, our college football analyst, joining us on the Titan & More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Before we go to break, let's talk about our folks at CertaPro Painters of Gainesville, area's leader in painting excellence and proud partner of the Florida Gators, offering professional painting services for homes and businesses, plus cabinet refinishing and carpentry repairs. Visit CertaPro.com for a free estimate. Take a quick time out, come back. We'll be joined by Freddie Wehbe from Florida Victorious, talk about what they have going on and what they're going to be doing moving forward. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bill.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Our Gridiron sponsors, CertaPro Painters, Comfort Temp,
Florida Victorious,
UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45. Our touchdown sponsors are Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild.
If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. We're going to head back to the Titan MR hotline courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Freddie Wehbe, a man that wears many, many hats. He's going to talk about Florida Victorious. Before we do that, though, Freddie, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, big 3-year anniversary, August 12th. Is it sold out?
Almost sold out. We have some openings after 8:45 p.m. It's going to be a great party on Monday, August 12th, and we're looking forward to seeing you and many of your friends and Coach Spurrier and the gang. And many, many of our raving fans at the restaurant. We have an amazing buffet and food and atmosphere and vibes and giveaways. And it's going to be an awesome day. 3 years in business, Shane. It's been a blast.
Yeah, y'all done a tremendous job. No question about that. Well, your group, Florida Victorious, has used Spurrier's Gridiron Grill quite a bit for recruits to come in. And tell us, first of all, why you jumped in working with Florida Victorious, but y'all also have a kind of a fundraiser type deal going on now where people can purchase these produce boxes full of fresh vegetables and fruits. And if you don't want to come pick it up, you can donate it to a food bank. Tell us all about that.
That's correct, Shane. We partner with Front Door Produce. They own a bunch of farms in Florida, Georgia, and other places as well. And they're producing a Florida Victorious orange and blue branded box to help the Florida Gators. And in this box, there'll be about 18 to 20 pounds of fresh fruits. You name it, will be in it, from squash, zucchini, tomatoes, cucumbers, anything that's available that day. And you can purchase that box via online on FloridaVictorious.com. It costs $30, and some of the proceeds will go to Florida Victorious and directly to the Florida Gators student athlete. You can order the box until August 10th, so it's coming up. You've got 9 days to do so at FloridaVictorious.com, and delivery of the boxes will be on August 15th. We're going to be at Celebration Point, right in front of the Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, next to the movie theater. There'll be a big truck there. The football team will be there. I think we're expecting about 85 players to hand out the boxes to the fans. If you live in the Gainesville area, come on up and pick it up. And if you don't live in the Gainesville area, you can donate it to the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank. And that's the cool part about this, is the cause marketing and helping the hungry people out there. Let's all Gators unite and help the hungry. And you can donate the box. You don't have to show up. You just pay for it. Bread of the Mighty will have set up a truck there, and they will take the donated boxes and deliver them to the hungry families.
That's awesome. There's no question about that. Yeah, and it's great that the team will be there, as Freddie said. As you come by and pick up your box, take a few pictures, get a few autographs from the players. This is what it's all about. And one more time, Freddie, what's the website? Obviously, they can go to FloridaVictorious.com, or is there a quicker way for them to go on and purchase these?
They can go on FloridaVictorious.com and link into the Front Door Produce, or they can go directly to www.frontproduce.com/product/Chomp Out Hunger. The name of the campaign is Chomp Out Hunger. Gators do chomp, and this is a great opportunity to chomp out hunger. And like I said, Bread of the Mighty does a great job distributing food to 12 counties around Gainesville. Anyone hungry gets food from there. Thousands of people get their food from the Bread of the Mighty Food Bank. They do need our help. They do get food from several big partners like Publix and what have you. But now it's time for Gators to unite across the state of Florida. All Gator fans can unite and help chomp out hunger.
Tony on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says can he request that none of the fruits and vegetables come from Georgia?
We can do that. Some of the farms are in Florida. I would say a lot of it is from Florida. We'll make sure that happens, of course.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Freddie, tell us how Florida Victorious is doing right now. I thought I read, and we talked about it on the program here, there's been more NILs done here at the University of Florida. I want to say Texas may have been in second. Tell us all about that.
Florida Victorious is doing well. We're probably in the top 10 of all collectives across the country. Florida Victorious obviously is a proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators. We raise money to make sure we recruit and retain great student athletes and players for all the sports. We support all the sports at the University of Florida, and we're going to continue doing so. The last 6 months, we've worked hard to rebrand ourselves a little bit and let people know what we do, who we are, where we are, not just in Gainesville, but across the state, because Gator Nation is everywhere. And, the state of Florida is enriched with almost 400,000 alumni that live in the state, and we've got over 3 million fans. We're one of the top schools in the country. We're number one in education, top 5 overall. There's no reason why our Florida Gators can't be number one. And we just needed to tie that message together and tell our fans that. And we're blessed. People are giving us through memberships, through donations, through fundraisers. This is another great fundraiser. And this is really tuned to what we do best. That's community work and cause marketing and helping our community become a better place. And things are doing great. Again, Florida Victorious strives to be a model name. We do it right for name, image, and likeness. There are several other collectives. We compete with them all. But at the end, it's about raising money. And we have a team that's solid, that does it right, that works hard. We work exclusively with the University of Florida. We work with the compliance. We are a third party. We do not work for the athletic department. So we have to follow all the rules. We have attorneys on the team. We have a whole team of people that does it right. And that's very, very important as well.
Live a healthier lifestyle with our bold, flavorful smoothies and our amazing food. Tropical smoothie. When you eat better, you feel better. We got Freddie Wehbe here from Florida Victorious. Freddie, this question seems like it comes up every day on my program. We don't talk about it, but somebody on YouTube mentioned it here about corporate sponsorship. But this text on the Titan Lamar text line from Brent in Tupelo, Mississippi, he says, I live near Memphis. FedEx just did a big deal with the University of Memphis. Why has Florida Victorious not gotten Gatorade on board? That's I can't tell you how many times people ask, why is Gatorade not plastered as a, on the stadium, on the O'Connell Center, what have you? You want to chime in on that?
I can. I mean, we all know FedEx is a great company in Memphis, and they do a good job. We lobbied to their CEO to move to Gainesville, but he didn't respond. But truly, yeah, we do have a good team that sells corporate sponsorships. We do have some bunch of new sponsors joining hands. We just joined hands with the Chamber of Commerce here locally. Scorpio Construction has joined us, our recent sponsor, and there's many, many more. We have talked to Gatorade and many of the others, but we have not shaken hands yet, but we continue to do so, and hopefully they'll join us and become a corporate sponsor.
Yeah, there's no question. I just think it goes, I think the fans they're wondering, it just goes hand in hand. The product was invented at the University of Florida, and it's Gatorade. It should be a part of us, no question about that right now. Coy says, home of the king. Yep, Elvis Presley. But I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Freddie. What were you saying?
They're owned by Pepsi as well, and Pepsi is already an official partner, so there's that component a little bit that probably plays a role. But we're working with them, and we're talking to them, and we're talking to hundreds of different companies. And it is going to take a lot of sponsorships from corporate, along with the memberships, along with the donations. You cannot rely 100% on donors. You will not sustain for the long term of success. And corporate sponsorship is a big role in that. We do have 3 different levels of sponsorships, and anyone that's interested can go on our site and contact me, and we'll make sure our team contacts you directly.
We have another text here on the Titan Lamar text line from Sharon. She says, will there be any kind of Florida Victorious activity before the season kicks off for fans to meet the players?
We are. We have several things planned for. We do have a fan day that will be announced any day before the game starts, before the season starts. It'll be at the practice facility. We do have a big tailgate in front of the stadium every game. We have 2 big tents this year. We've quadrupled our size. Thanks to our fan base and thanks to our visitors, we'll be right in front of the north end zone with 2, I believe, 40 by 40 tents. We'll have some goodies and giveaways and items and really educate the people what Florida Victorious is. We're also sponsoring the 50-50 sweepstakes at the games, where 50% of the proceeds when you participate will now benefit Florida Victorious and directly goes to the student athlete.
On the Facebook Live brought to you by Melvin Law, Ted says, what will your relationship be with the university when the House versus NCAA court case is settled?
Well, whatever and whenever this happens, we will follow the rules. We will align, and we will work directly whoever leads that. Things have changed so many times within this lawsuit, and they'll change again. And once it's settled and everything is clear, whatever we can do, we will do. At the end of the day, things will change. The collectives will change. The rules will change. But what's not going to change is raising money. Whether it goes through us or through the university or through the athletic department or whatever the lawsuits decide and the Congress steps in and makes all these changes, we will follow those guidelines, and we'll continue to raise money for the University of Florida student athlete.
Dan on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, wants to know, will there be a Visors rooftop anniversary event too?
There will be. We're working on that right now. Stay tuned. We're actually remodeling Visors to make this event more successful. We're celebrating the 96 club members will be there along with Coach Spurrier, and we'll throw another party just like we did last year at Visors on top of the rooftop on top of Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Okay, we've got several questions here about Florida Victorious, and I'm not going to tell who sent it because there's too many of them, but they're all about the same, Freddie. They want to know who decides from Florida Victorious how much player X is getting paid.
Again, we have a team specified for that. Our CEO, Nate Barbera, handles that aspect of the business, and there's a way of measuring how much each player gets. There's obviously some negotiations as well. This is a business. The athletes work for their money, and we pay them directly to do things in the community and do some charity work. And everyone is different, and negotiations happen usually between the athlete and us. And Nate handles that and leads it and decides what's the best way to do this. And he does a good job at that as well.
All right, Barone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, any differences between Freddie's possible interactions with President Fox and President Sass?
I mean, the presidents of the university all have one goal in mind, and they want the universities to be doing well, to be successful, to be ranked high, academics, athletics. We all work together in this. We're all Gators. If you're a Gator and you're an alum or you support the Florida Gators, you want the Gators to win. And I'm sure the presidents want the Gators to win. And I'm sure every fan wants us to win. We can only win if we all work together. We've done a good job as Florida Victorious aligning ourselves with all the different groups, from the Office of the President to the Alumni Association to the Gator Boosters to the Athletic Department to Learfield. We work together all in one goal and unison. Do we agree on everything? No. But we have one mission. We have to, as Florida Victorious, bring in a lot of money, millions of dollars, to help our Gators win. And to do so, it's going to take every Gator fan to do so. And, there's 3 million fans, Gator fans across the globe. If they each give $10, we hit our goals. And we need to continue doing so and making sure we succeed and sustain and help our Florida Gators win. It's that simple. Whether you're the president of the university, the athletic director, the coaches, the staff, the alumni, we all want the Gators to win. And for the Gators to win, it's simple. Help Florida Victorious or any of these other organizations, and let's make the Florida Gators shine and become a better what they do.
All right, a couple more texts here, and we'll get you out of here, Freddie. On the Titan More text line, Barbara's question is, what is the top dish sold at Spurrier's?
That's a good question. It varies from week to week, but our top 5 are the tomahawk, the steaks, the ribeye does well, the redfish does well, the short rib and mushroom risotto is always in the top 3. Our mahi sells very well as well, and then from a vegetarian standpoint, our rollatini does really, really well. But overall, they change every single week. Every day is different. But those are kind of our top 5 at the restaurant.
And we had a lot of discussion about this, and somebody wanted me to ask you on the Titan MR text line. We talked about it earlier with Brent, and some of our listeners said that it's a done deal that the Jaguars will play in Gainesville. I spoke with Mark Long yesterday. He said there's no way they play in Gainesville because too much has to be done to the stadium. What are you hearing, Freddie, about the Jaguars when they do their renovations? Do you think it'll be Gainesville or Orlando?
I've kind of heard same as you, Shane, and I've heard on your show yesterday and today. I don't think anyone knows. I think it's probably still in negotiations. We would love them to be in Gainesville. It'll be good for the economy. It'll be good for our hotels, our restaurants. I know from a Spurrier's perspective, it would be amazing. I can tell you this, we haven't seen the Jaguars come visit the restaurant yet. I think the day we see that gives us a little indication. We tend to see all these meetings happening at Spurrier's and all the recruits and their parents and their coaches there. So we kind of feel that something is happening, but I hope it comes to Gainesville. I think it'll be good. It's closer to Jacksonville than Orlando for their fans. I just read about the deal with UF Health and the University of Florida partnering with the Gators. Maybe that, with the Jags, maybe that helps us come to Gainesville. But I haven't heard anything, and I'm hoping we see them in Gainesville, and we see the economic impact that can help us, help the Florida Victorious, help the Gators, help the economy at the same time.
Yeah, you brought up, and we talked about it earlier, how many, they have during recruiting season, y'all have a big dinner at Spurrier's. I think it's usually on Saturday night. Maybe it's Friday night. I can't remember. I'm curious, because you're there usually, correct, Freddie, at these dinners?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm sure the parents love the museum aspect because, they know who Coach Spurrier, they know how great he was. what's the reception of the players? I mean, I'm sure they're in awe, but they probably have no idea who Coach Spurrier is, right?
Most of the parents do. Actually, Coach Spurrier comes and speaks to the parents. He does a couple, 5-minute talk, tells them why they should choose Florida. It's absolutely amazing, Shane, to watch the interaction between a dad or the grandpa or the grandma and their potential recruit stand in front of it, the Lou Groza Award, Judd Davis Award in the museum, or Shane Matthews SEC Trophy of the Year, and say, hey, you can win this, son, a grandson. It's amazing. I've seen this many, many times, moms standing in front of Coach Spurrier's Heisman and saying, hey, you could be this, and I can see the eyes looking at that. And that connection point is so marvelous. It's great to have. Yeah, we're a restaurant, but we're also a museum. We're half museum, we're half restaurant. We provide good food, but we also carry tons of trophies and championships and SEC rings, and you can see it all at this great restaurant. And we've become the restaurant for Gator Nation because of this. Every meeting, every recruit, from the president of the university to the UF Health to football to basketball to volleyball, you name it, happens at that restaurant. And why? Because there's that aspect. There's nothing more beautiful than watching a kid look at the SEC Player of the Year trophy and say, I can do this. And it's sitting right there in the museum. That's awesome. And guess what? It's got your name on it, Shane.
Yeah, 2 of them in there. So I mean, they get double cookies at the anniversary. I get extra cookies. All right, Freddie, good stuff as always. Before we let you go, one more time, last day to order produce for Florida Victorious. Was it the 10th?
August 10th. It's August 10th is the last day. It's an easy click. It's $30 for the box. And then the distribution is on August 15th at Celebration Point between 4 o'clock and 9 p.m. Visit www.floridavictorious.com for more information.
Awesome. Good stuff as always, Freddie. Appreciate your time, my man.
You bet. Thank you, Shane.
That's Freddie Wehbe. Man does so much for the University of Florida. Wears a lot of hats, does a tremendous job. This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 2021, Marcel Jacobs becomes the first Italian athlete to win the coveted 100 meters at the Tokyo Olympics. He ran a 9.8. We'll see. I don't know if he still runs for Team Italy or not, but track should be starting pretty soon. So that's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Comfort Temp Heating and Air is looking for an enthusiastic, motivated comfort specialist to join their team. $1,000 sign-on bonus after 90 days, awesome benefits, and the opportunity to grow with a winning team. Apply today at comforttemp.com. Comfort Temp Heating and Air. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Again, I want to thank Brent Beaird, our college football analyst, and Freddie Wehbe from Florida Victorious joining the program today. You have the Hall of Fame game tonight. No starters will be playing, but you got the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. It'd be good to see a little bit of football. But yeah, no starters are going to play. I'm surprised Caleb Williams isn't going to at least get a series, but they're going to protect him for some reason. Mark says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Track and field starts Friday. Appreciate that. Hope everybody has a great day. We'll be here tomorrow, same place, same time. Take care, folks.